want to begin this morning by asking you a question, and I want you to respond. And so here it is. What do people pursue? Just, what do you think? What do people pursue? Success. Money. Love. Happiness. The pursuit of happiness. What else? Faith.
A wife.
Fame. A wife. Yeah. Or a husband, a spouse, right? What else? What do they pursue? What are they after? Dreams. Education. Peace. Joy. Jobs. Instagram likes. Facebook likes. Yes. How many comments? They do, right? Exactly. How many Snapchats? How many tweets? How many, all the stuff, the social media, because that's important. Acknowledgement, recognition. I had a couple early mornings this week. I was driving, I was listening to the radio. I don't even remember now the station. They were talking about how your athletics, how things have changed since you were a kid in athletics to today. And it was going to be a couple days, so I heard part of it on Wednesday, and they were asking, and they were going to talk about it some more. So one of the things that they were talking about, one of the themes that was coming in was the cost. And one of the texts was that this mom said they pay $4,000 to $5,000 for their kids' dirt bikes because they're competing in their dirt bike races. These are 8 and 10-year-olds. Another one said, we pay $10,000 a year for our child, 12-year-old, to competitively race ATVs. What are they pursuing? I mean, that's not even baseball and football and basketball and dance and gymnastics, any of that. And I started thinking, well, what is it that people, why is it that people spend so much time and energy and resources pursuing happiness and joy and peace and Instagram likes and competitive sports? I mean, all of these things, Super Bowl rings and titles and success, power, dreams, prestige, recognition. What is it? And I think that for many, for all of us, we're guilty. We may not be pursuing those things, but there's always something we're striving for, we're trying to go for. And it fulfills a need within us, the need for recognition and acknowledgement. It fulfills a need, there's a void maybe that we're trying to fill. We want it. Let's just be honest, we want it. And so we're going for it that way. Some are hoping that it will make them more popular, or it will help them belong, or there's a sense of satisfaction, or some accomplishment, or we can check it off our list, a bucket list or otherwise. And that it's going to do this thing for us. Here at Faith Chapel, as we've been talking to you for years, but also recent, is that during Lent, we refer to it as Re-Lent. We're doing it again. We are saying we want to yield again. We're going to give away again, give way again to this discipline for 40 days of giving something up and putting something in. And we use this equation that I've given you a handout for that I meant to give you earlier that Pastor Bob generally hands out, and I forgot. But we use this equation that we take something out plus adding something in, and it gives us multiplication. That's not even mathematically correct. So if you're a math major, it's okay. I used to teach math. It's okay. It's not mathematically correct. But here's how we explain it. What do you take out of your life? What do you need to add to your life? And by taking something out and adding something in, what is God going to do? How's he going to multiply? What's going to be multiplied in your life? And when we think about it, we also say during this time at Faith Chapel that this Re-Lent or this equation or whatever, it puts us into a relentless pursuit of God. And so when we look at that, what's it really mean? It's a nice little catchphrase. It's a good slogan for this. It fits really well with this part of the church calendar. But what's it mean? What's it look like? I had breakfast with a friend on Thursday. She and I went to college together, and she's a pastor. She's actually a general superintendent now, and we were in the Nazarene church, and we get together once a month, and we talk about sermons she's preaching and things I'm working on and sermons, and so we started talking about Ash Wednesday and what that meant. And I talked about the relent and relentless. I said, I'm going to preach on relentless pursuit of God. We talk about that during this time too, that it refocuses us. Like I said in January, the alignment, and last week, the quiet time. And she said, but do we really know? Do we really pursue God? And I thought, yeah, do we? I mean, do we? That's a good question. So it made me think even more, do we really even pursue him? So I thought maybe for starters I would just define relentless and pursuit. I know you've got a dictionary. I know you can read. I know you've got your own definition. But I want to just show us some things. I want to bring us all sort of to the same page to look at this morning. So when I look at relentless, and there's about 40 words that come up. I just picked a few. Incessant, unstoppable, nonstop, uninterrupted, persistent, tenacious, determined. We could go on. And then we look at pursuit. We think about pursuit. It's of following someone or something. It's chasing after. It's to seek or to look for. Those we follow, the things we chase, or they're the object of our affection, and those things are that we are passionate about. If I say, what are you passionate about? It still gets to, at some point, in some ways, there's a pursuit there sometimes. And we pursue someone so we can have a relationship with them, which is the purpose of our pursuit of God, that we have a relationship with him. So we might then say that a relentless pursuit of God is an incessant, nonstop act of chasing after, following after God. The decision is made that we are determined to chase him, to seek him, to follow him. And for many of us who call ourselves Christians, we have the pursuit part down really well. We're following someone, God. We say, I'm a Christian, I'm a follower of Jesus. But can they, can we, can you, can I say, we follow Jesus tenaciously, persistently, tirelessly, with determination, without interruption, without distraction, without choosing to leave that pursuit? We're talking about the pursuit. The police were in pursuit of a suspect. Sometimes they call off the pursuit. Sometimes we call off our pursuit of Jesus. Because that pursuit, that relentless is a little bit more difficult. Stuff happens. Life throws us a curve. We're active. We're busy. We're overscheduled. Talked about that a little bit last week. We let other things crowd our thoughts and occupy our minds, and we become more lenient. And we become more comfortable. We might even become complacent. Oh, that's a word we like. We struggle to pursue God even when we know that's best. Even when we have history, we have experience that when we have sought him, we've been seeking him, we've followed after him, that there is peace. Life goes a little bit smoother, that we have more peace in our life, we have more faith, we have more opportunity, we just feel different. And sometimes we even shift our focus, and then temptation comes, and then we find ourselves guilty of pursuing the wrong things. And we see throughout the Bible, time and time again, that we're to seek the Lord. We look at Isaiah. Prophet Isaiah writes in Isaiah 55:6, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near." Sometimes we'll say, I don't feel like God's here. He's not near. He's nowhere to be found. And someone has said, God is nowhere. The sign, and Somebody put a line between the W and the H. No, God is now here. And if God feels like he's far away, who moved? Because we can find him. He is near us if we acknowledge him and seek him. Jeremiah 29:13 says, and you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Think about playing hide and seek when you were younger. Or maybe recently if you're in the youth overnight lock-in thing. I think they played hide and seek in the church, right, Roland? You guys played hide and seek. But think about it. There's some pleasure in seeking. There's the excitement of the search and finding those who are hiding. Because you want to try to find them and you want to get them all in. If you're the one hiding, there's excitement and anticipation in how long it's going to take you to be found. How well did you hide? After about 10 minutes, it may not be so exciting. After about 20, it might not be. Because you're like, well, this isn't any fun. They haven't found me yet. I guess I hid too well. Because the excitement, the thrill isn't there. But the whole point of the game is in the finding, right? Is it not? And there's joy in being found. Any of you ever been lost? And when you got found, when I was little, I remember, sixth grade, that's littler than now at 60. But when I was little, we went shopping. We lived in Topeka, and we went to the White Lakes Mall. Nancy, remember the White Lakes Mall? And we went, and I and my brothers wandered away from my mom. We were lost. We weren't just hiding, we were lost. But man, when she found us, it was so great. I love little kids, like the littles, when they're learning how to play hide and seek, because they get so excited. And when they're just learning, they will hide in plain sight. Like they'll be over here and they're like, I'm hiding. You can't see me because if I can't see you, you can't see them. I mean, if I can't see you, if they can't see you, you can't see them. So they're hiding. And then they get all excited and the thrill of you searching for them and the anticipation of you finding them. And then if they don't jump out and say, I'm right here, because you're pretending to go by them, right? You're playing the game of seeking. And then the squeal that comes when you found me. It's so fun. Do it again. The anticipation on their part, the seeking on your part, this squeal of joy when they're found. The same is true of God. He knows that there can be excitement in the search and pleasure in the finding. And Paul says it this way in Acts 17. God made the world and everything in it. He gives everyone life and breath and everything else. God did this so that people would seek him and find him. Pursuit, seeking, finding. 2 Chronicles 22:19. Now set your mind and heart to seek the Lord your God. When I read, now set your mind and heart, I don't know about you, but I read that decide, determine, make up your mind, be relentless. Some translations say devote your mind and heart. See, when we become serious about seeking the Lord, he's promised we will find him, but we have to be committed to giving our whole heart to him in the pursuit. Police officers don't barely pursue a suspect. They put their whole being and their whole car, everything's into it. And when we become serious about seeking the Lord in that type of high-speed chase and pursuit, we will find him. Let's look at David this morning, who had a heart for pursuing God. We'll go to Psalm 63. We'll be there for a few Psalms and different scriptures, and Psalm 42, but 63:8. David says, my soul follows close behind you. Your right hand upholds me. This version says, I cling to your right hand. Your right hand, you uphold me. I cling to you. Your right hand upholds me. As we determine to pursue God, there's another analogy that's given to us. We sang about it this morning, the deer that pants for the water. As the deer pants for the water, so my soul pants for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. You remember a time you were so thirsty? Like you were parched. You were just, you just felt like you could just pull, make a sweater out of the cotton coming, out of your mouth. I mean, it was just so dry. You were so thirsty. All you could think about was quenching that thirst. And so think about this in the context of your soul, longing for God, the need that you have to quench that thirst. Your soul has that need and longing to be in relationship with God. When we have a longing heart to know God, to have a relationship with Him, enjoying being together with Him and talking to Him and hearing what He has to say, we know that desire, that longing. Think about when you started dating your spouse. You wanted to be with them and talk to them and be in their presence. You thought about them. It was this thirst to be together. You wanted to be in relationship. You knew that desire and that longing for that connection. In Psalm 63:1, we see David's pursuing heart, and he writes, "Oh God, you are my God. I earnestly search for you. I relentlessly pursue you." The earnesty. I earnestly come looking, seeking. I think about this, "Oh God, you are my God." Little kids will say, "That's my mom. That's my mom. That's my dad." Or they'll say, "It's mine. My toy. You're not going to have it." Because we own it. Oh God, my God. He knows Him. He's connected to Him. He's got some ownership there in relationship. He has not got to worry about the fact that he's going to go, "It's my God. I can claim my right to Him because I'm His child." Nobody gets excited about that? This psalm was most likely written during one of the low times in David's life. It takes place during the very painful, difficult time when his son Absalom was rebelling and attempting to become the king of Israel. There's also a time when Saul is after David, wants to kill him. We read about this in 2 Samuel, and it causes David, all this causes David to go on the run. And although David is running to save his life, in the heat of the battle, he runs to God and says, "Oh God, my God, I earnestly seek you. Oh mommy, my mommy, I need you." And we run and we cling and we hold on and we pursue. Do you hear the sincerity and the intensity in that? Do you hear the intentionality in his words? The passionate pursuit of God who's been followed for years? And you might be saying, "Yeah, well, David didn't always follow God so intently." I know, I'm well aware of his mistakes. And that at one point in his life, the choices he made resulted in him ceasing to pursue God. And he paid dearly for it. Just like when we choose to not pursue, we pay for that in many ways. And although David got off course and he lost his way, and he made not those of someone who was pursuing God, when we look at his entire life, we see a man who had a single-minded passion for his God that caused him to pursue God day in and day out to the end of his life. He's aware of the fact he needed to come back to what he knew, this loving relationship with Christ, determined to follow him and to be in relationship, following close behind, clinging to him. The passionate pursuit of David came from him making a constant choice. If I don't make a decision every day to be intentional about my love for my husband or my love for my kids or my love for my Jesus, it can maybe kind of fade. He made a constant choice which developed into a habit of seeking and finding God that resulted in a longing to be with him. He couldn't imagine not being with him. He longed to be with him. And in this verse, in Psalm 63:1, David continues on, similar to our text about the deer panting for the water, when he writes again, thinking about that, my soul thirsts for you, my flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. I'm parched. And perhaps he's still thinking about his difficult situation. But he takes his focus off of his problem in this verse, and his heart and his mind turns to God. And it is his God that he pursues. My soul pants for you. It thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you. I'm parched. I want you. I need you. David had moments, problems, dry spots. When he was trying to keep ahead of a jealous and revengeful Saul who wanted to kill him. When he suffered in his sin and his disobedience because of his adulterous affair with Bathsheba. He had dry moments when a rebellious son is trying to take the throne from him. And you and I have dry moments when life goes awry and we struggle to keep moving forward. And circumstances knock us down and evil conspires against us and takes our breath away, or it keeps us down. Or you get a diagnosis that rocks your world. I think about Debbie Thompson in Lewisburg. She had colon cancer just a couple years ago, and she was in remission, and things were great, and she was just moving along. And 2 weeks ago, they found cancer in her liver, and Friday she had she had surgery. That rocks your world. It's not a diagnosis that you want. That spins you a little bit into this fear and this dry spot and what is happening. And our tendency is to look at our problem and turn inward instead of say, oh God, I can't do this anymore. Oh God, my God, I seek you in this moment. Or Delane and Elizabeth fighting this incredible battle for 7 long years that we don't understand. Dry moments, or we follow God's direction, we do what he asks us to, and yet things don't go the way we thought they would. I was being obedient. I stepped out in faith. I did what I knew you told me to. The doors opened. I couldn't miss what you were leading me into. But what is happening here? Now we're here and it doesn't look anything like I wanted it to or needed it to or thought it would be in my mind. But isn't that the way God is? He leads us. He wants to know if we're obedient. Sometimes he just wants to know if we're obedient, and then he just says, okay, cool. Call off the pursuit. We're not chasing the suspect, okay? Sometimes he wants to know if we're obedient, and then he wants to know, how obedient are we? Are we going to walk this straight path that we think it's going to be? Yes, we are. Oh, no, I want you to go this way. What are you talking about? I have to step over all these hurdles, and I have to climb over all these people. And what are you talking about? This is not what I wanted. And then I'm over here with all these people. I didn't even know who they are, and you want me over here. This is not what I bargained for. You said I was doing this, and I stepped out in faith. I know you brought me here, and what is this? Dry moment. I'm not pursuing him. I pursued him. Look at where it got me. How's that supposed to work? Anybody or just me? We moved here from California. We'd been deeply hurt by the pastor in our church that we worked with. We came here. We were not going to be in ministry. 2 years. We were at least. We'd been here about 2 months. We had one car. Bob picked me up at work. I had a part-time job, and then we went to get the kids. He's in a suit. A long time ago, he did wear suits. And I said, what are you doing? I had a job interview today. Oh, really? Where? At a church. What are you talking about? Youth pastor? What? You said 2 years. We said 2 years. No, I'm not doing it. We said 2 years. And we know when God brought us here, we're doing this. You're going to go to school. No, we're not going to do this. And the kids kind of had the same reaction. It's kind of like, well, this whole Kansas thing isn't working out, is it? We're obedient, and it's this dry spot. I don't really feel determined to keep seeking God in that moment. But I know in my head, it's what I know and what I do, and he's the answer, and he's my strength. And Psalm 63:8, my soul follows close behind you, and your right hand upholds me. I cling to you, and your hand holds on to me. The Message translation says, I hold on to you for dear life, and you hold me steady like a post. The Living Bible translates to read, I follow, I pursue, close behind you, protected. In these dry moments in David's life, when faith was tested and tempted, when circumstances were overwhelming, when some would choose to give up or to compromise, David's pursuing heart kept his focus on God and not on his circumstances. And oh, that's harder to do than it sounds like. Much easier to say, oh, just trust God. You haven't been in my wilderness. No, really trust him. You can trust him. Yeah, well, I see your life. But see, we see people in their moment now.
Yes. Right. Yes.
We don't see them in the stuff they've been through that has formed them and put them in the crucible of God's crafting and his refiner's fire, and he's making us better, and he's getting us to a point where we can trust him and we still want to pursue him, but in that moment we don't want to. But as part of getting us to a place where we want to cling to him and we want to pursue him with tenacity, with determination, and we say, I will follow Jesus, no turning back. But that's so much easier to say than do. That's so much easier to say when we are not in the middle of a tragedy like this church experienced 15, 16, 18 months ago. It's so much easier to say than do, but we do it together, and we do it because God says he will, and we choose that. David knew it was God who had sustained him in the past and was sustaining him in the present and would sustain him in the future. Amen. Our past informs us of our present, and our present informs us of our future. And God is in the past and the present and the future. He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And we can take that and we can claim it and we can hold on to it. And we say, yep, well, it was good yesterday, but it's not going to work today. I've been in this today for a long time. One of the ways God sustains David, and he sustains us, is found in verse 3 of Psalm 63. Your unfailing love is better to me than life itself. And then he says, oh, how I praise you. Your unfailing love, your loving kindness, it is better than life. Think about someone that loves you with an undying love. You don't ever have to worry about whether or not they're going to love you. It is life-giving to you. It is energizing to you. It connects you. It is security for you. And David says this about our God. Oh, my God, because of your steadfast love, your undying love, that's better than life. And oh, how I praise you. He experienced God's love in the dry desert of despair and uncertainty. And this unfailing love came to be central to David's passionate pursuit of God. He loved God, and he knew that God loved him because it's an unfailing, steadfast, never-ending, constant. You can count on it. You can hold on to it. Unfailing love. And he praised him. Isn't that what Scripture tells us to do? Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. Oh, but God. No, rejoice in the Lord. But God. And we can praise him in our struggles. His unfailing love. Your unfailing love. Lord, you love me. Just think about that for a minute. Just think about God wrapping his arms around you right now. He loves you with an unfailing love, and he's just squeezing you tight and saying, I'm never gonna let you go. David's heart was focused on God. He pursued God with relentless passion and love, and though he failed, the overall direction of his life was in one direction, God's direction. Listen to that again. Though he failed, still, his overall direction was in one direction, God's direction. He failed. You and I fail. We fail when we have unhealthy attitudes, or we hold on to anger or bitterness or unforgiveness, or when our thoughts and desires are impure, when worry and doubt rule our thoughts, or when we've seen this the last couple of weeks with Pastor Bob, our ego gets in the way, and our ego is when we edge God out. When I put myself in the middle, I'm edging God out, and I sin against God. Some of us call ourselves a follower of Jesus, but we're just kind of going through the motions. We might come to church, we don't engage in the music, we don't pay attention to the message, we don't tithe or give to missions, we don't do other offerings, we don't serve. We're just here, but hey, I follow Jesus. Kind of numbly, kind of passively, kind of undercover. I don't want you to know. Just doing enough to get by. I just want to make sure I'm in, but not with the full commitment. We become complacent. We have to be all in. We have to go in full. If you're going to dive off of a diving board into the water, you don't get to stand on the diving board and try to stick your toe in the water. You have a choice. All in, or take the chicken exit. Turn around and go back. Okay? And we have to be all in. When we are pursuing God, it's an all-in thing. It's a dive off the diving board. And we are living in an age of religious complacency. The real and vibrant relationship with Jesus is difficult to see. Oh, I mean, we can see it. But people, they're those fanatics again, those Jesus freaks. Research has found that more and more practicing Christians are Bible neutral, what they call Bible neutral or Bible skeptics, meaning they're less likely to read or trust the Bible. And if we aren't in the Word, how do we know who God is and how are we to live in relationship and communion with Him? A.W. Tozer wrote a book called The Pursuit. Can you click that for me? All of a sudden it's not working. Next one. There we go. The Pursuit of God, the human thirst for the divine. Complacency is a deadly foe of all spiritual growth. Acute desire must be present, or there will be no manifestation of Christ to His people. Do you have an acute desire so that He can manifest His presence and His power in your life? He waits to be wanted. Think about hiding. You wait to be wanted. He waits to be wanted. Too bad with many of us, He waits so long. So very, very long in vain. And if we're not careful, we can lose our passion for God. We can let it slip, and when things don't go according to plan, see ya. Didn't work out my way. See ya. In Revelation, God warns the church. He warns the church about this complacency. He is warning the church of Ephesus, the church of Ephesus. Oh, that this is not the warning for other churches or for Faith Chapel. But he says this, I know all the things you do. I've seen your hard work and your patient endurance. I know you don't tolerate evil people. You've examined the claims of those who say they're apostles but are not. You've discovered they're liars. You've patiently suffered without quitting. But I have this complaint against you. You don't love me or each other as you did at first. Look how far you've fallen. Turn back to me and do the works you did at first. There we go. So I'm getting my point across. Whoa, you've lost your first love. Read this as you've lost your first love. You've lost your passion. Go back to that. Yeah, you're doing all the good things. You're suffering patient endurance, but you've lost your first love. You're going through the motions. You're here just doing the thing. Think about a new Christian. Passion, zeal, enthusiasm, radical change. And what do we say about those people when they get saved? What do we say about them? Oh, they're on fire for Jesus. Right? And they come to church and they sit in the front row and they've got their Bible and they sing the songs. They just want to get everything they can. They take notes on the sermon. They're not on their phone. Well, maybe they're taking notes on their phone. I don't know. But they are wanting to get everything they can. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about Karen's word last week. Rain down, R-E-I-G-N, but rain down, R-A-I-N. They want to be in the rain, splash over me, drench me. They can't get enough of that. It's their first love. They're on fire, and we've lost our first love. Think about when you met Jesus. Were you on fire? Were you sold out? Were you radical about him? Where is that now? Put it on your fire meter. Scale of 1 to 10. You met Jesus. You know Jesus. You're on fire for Jesus. Are you barely a low burn? Flicker, 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 little flame. Or that fire is so hot I can't be near you. Revelation 3:16 goes on and says, you know what? Because you're lukewarm, you're not hot, or you're ready to spit you out of my mouth. Where's our pursuit? We've heard Bob reference many times the song by Keith Green, my eyes are dry, my faith is old, my heart is hard, my prayers are cold, and I know what I ought to be. Alive to you and dead to me. Many of us have experienced this at some point in our lives. Maybe this morning. Your eyes are dry, your faith is old, your heart is hard, your prayers are cold. We need a heart that's hungry. Last week I was doing a strength training with a manufacturing firm, and there's 3 shifts, and so I was there from 8 in the morning till midnight. So I was catching all 3 shifts. And I always like to start my classes anytime, just say a word or a phrase that you'd use to describe yourself. Let's just kind of get you thinking about who you are. And this one guy said, hungry. And I jokingly said, oh yeah, because it's way past your dinner time. You got the midnight shift, dude. He said, no, that's not what I mean. I'm hungry to do the right thing. I'm hungry to take care of my family. I'm hungry to be the best person I can be. And I thought, oh, if only I was that hungry for Jesus. And I was that hungry in my daily life to be the best person, to do the right thing, to care about my family, to all of that. We need a heart that's hungry for God, our passion restored, a relentless pursuit. Keith Green goes on in his song and it says, oh, what can be done with an old heart like mine? Soften it up with oil and wine. The oil is you. Your spirit of love. Come, wash me anew in the wine of your blood. There's really nothing more important than pursuing God's presence. Unfortunately, we have a bad habit of doing God and. We pursue God, and that and is our greatest hindrance to seeking God. See, it's when we pursue God and something else. God and wealth, God and power, God and personal recognition, God and material things and pleasure and prestige, God and fill in the blank. What are you wanting him to sidle up with and walk along with? I'm pursuing this, but you can come along, Lord. It's kind of like this. It's like, yeah, I'm on this journey. Come on, God, you can go with me. God, I'm pursuing this, but I'll invite you. God and here I go. What are you fulfilling? What are you doing? What are you pursuing? God and what? Or just God? Because Jesus tells us we can't serve God and mammon. We can't serve 2 masters. The Bible also tells us God is a jealous God. He will have no other gods before him in our hearts and in our lives. Think about when you're dating or you're newly married or your relationship with your best friend. Did you or do you ever get jealous when they're spending more time with someone other than you? Or something? Video games or work or a hobby? We may say we love God, but our supreme affection may in fact be something else. And we create these little g gods that we put in place of God. And whatever we pursue, that dominates our thoughts and desires and actions and determines our character. And God is jealous of those other things that take our time and affection away from him. See, one of the reasons we do the add of the and thing is because we're fear we take it out, we're going to narrow or restrict our lives. We won't be able to have any fun. We're being controlled. We can't do this, we can't do that. We have to be this, we have to be that. What if people find out? What if they think, what if I'm a follower of Jesus, the pursuit, but I'm not going to be tenacious and determined about it. I'm not going to be relentless about it because I don't want people to think I'm crazy or weird. I'm one of those. These are false assumptions. Because if you've been serving Jesus for very long, you know that false assumptions or conclusions, these are inaccurate. Because God gives us not only everything we need when we seek him first and his righteousness, Matthew 6:33, seek him first, his righteousness, and these things will be added unto you. He also says in Ephesians 3:20 that he will give us more than we can ask or imagine. Because by his mighty power at work within us, he's able to do far more than we would ever dare to ask or even dream of. Infinitely beyond our highest prayers, our wildest desires, thoughts, and hopes. We have to pursue him with our whole being. Take him in our whole of existence. Sacrifice the stuff and the ands and concentrate on him. And determine and decide if we're going to, and resolve, if we're going to let not our flesh and not our fear and not our anxiety, what other people think, nothing will keep me from encountering and pursuing God. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Though none go with me, still I will follow. You guys are half asleep today. God doesn't deny earthly pleasures. But when we follow him and we seek him first and we have an intimacy, we don't look for happiness in what the world has to offer. We get from him and our relationship satisfaction, joy, happiness, and peace that money can't buy. And who wants to risk losing that? We're faced with all kinds of things that keep us from having a heart determined to pursue God. David, a couple of things that kept him pursuing God, and it helps us. We can follow his example. First of all, was that he made pursuing God a habit of his heart. We all have habits. Some are good, some are not. We all have things we're pursuing. Some are good, some are not. It's a relationship. It's a number on the scale. It's to get healthy. It's to pay off debt. It's all kinds of things. David's habit, what he made a habit, was to pursue God, a good habit. It must become who we are, because when we talk about the heart, it's who we are. He was sustained by God's love. He was sustained by God's love. When David had those times in his life that we all have, the discouragement and the fear and the disappointment and the defeat, he kept returning to the sustaining ability of God's love and the peace that came, and that never-ending love. Your steadfast love is better than life. We sang this morning, God's love is a key ingredient in having a heart for God and having a heart like God. And we sang, how great, how great, how great is your love for us. Do we ever say, how great is my love for you, God? Does he know how great our love is for him? And there are so many voices and so many sounds and so many sights that tempt us to go any direction but the Lord's direction. What voice are you listening to today? Are you listening to a voice that's screaming at you all the time? Go here, go there, do this, do that, believe this, don't believe that. Are you making choices that will lead you to complete disorder, maybe destruction? Or is the loudest voice you hear the sweet, loving voice of Jesus, who created you, who knows you by name, and knows you better than anyone else? The last couple of weeks, Pastor Bob's been talking about the need to take inventory. So I'm going to ask you to take inventory this morning. I'm going to ask Bobby to come. I want you to bow your head and close your eyes, and whoever's coming with you for closing. Bow your head and close your eyes. I want you to take an inventory between you and Jesus. Are you like the deer panting for the living water? Or are you in the dry desert and your circumstances have knocked you down? You're not sure you can keep going. Maybe you're not sure you even want to keep going. Is the Lord the whole of your heart's desire? Are you consumed by him and his love and being in relationship with him in the same way you desire and consume good food and water? Or have you made other things the object of your affection, the little g God? Are you relentlessly, persistently pursuing God, or are you avoiding any kind of connection with him? Do you know Christ intimately? Or have you walked away, turned your back, ended the pursuit? Or maybe you've never even asked him into your heart. How do you answer these questions? Does your inventory show that you're kind of running low a little bit? You need to refill, restock? Maybe in prayer, maybe connection, maybe being more determined to pursue Jesus, a decision to even acknowledge him, much less follow him. Regardless of your response, keep your eyes closed and your heads bowed. I want you, all of us, to pray a prayer together. I'll say it out loud and I want you to repeat after me. Because regardless of your response, we can all pray this prayer and we can all benefit from it. So repeat after me. Lord, I've tasted your goodness. Lord, I've tasted your goodness. And I'm ashamed of my lack of desire for you. I'm ashamed of my lack of desire for you. Your love and grace has both satisfied me and made me thirsty for more. Give me a greater degree of your love and grace today. Give me a greater degree of your love and grace today. I want you above all things. Show me your glory so I can know you even more. And in your mercy, begin a new work inside of me. Put within me a new heart and a new spirit so I can have a new beginning with you. I want to seek you always with my whole heart. Amen. Stand. The altars are always open. I know we've got a couple of the benches out because of our Ash Wednesday service and didn't get some of them put back, but altars, front benches. If anything I've said to you today that you've heard, that God has quickened into your spirit, spoke to you, and you need time to just come and pray, or just come and be, or just come and sit, or just come and whatever you need to do. Bring a friend, whatever you need. He's here. We're here. Don't leave his beckoning too soon. Not only does he want us to pursue him, he is always pursuing us. And if he's pursuing you this morning, don't run. Don't run. Seek him while he is near. Jesus, may that be our heart's cry this morning. More of you, less of me. As the deer pants for water, Lord, as we think about the time we've been so thirsty and so parched, that would be what we desire in relationship with you. We thirst for you. We're parched in our soul and in our spirit, and we need you. And we want to be in fellowship with you. And sometimes, Lord, in pursuit, we're chasing you down, and we grab hold, and we're going to cling to you. You're going to protect us. I want that relationship with you. I want that commitment to you. I want that peace, that love, that joy. I want to seek you first. Seek you with my whole heart. Oh God, my God. And oh, will I praise thee. Give us all that desire this morning, Lord, that we would pursue you in a new way, with determination, with tenacity, incessantly, fervently, unstopping. That's you're our first thought in the morning. You're our first thought when we're in a scary situation. You're our first thought when we're meeting new people. You're our first thought in a job interview. You're our first thought when we go to the doctor. You're our first thought. Lord, you occupy our mind. We seek you, and then everything else is added. And so as we think of our equation, we take something away. What do we need to take away this morning and add in? More of you, Lord, more of you, more of you, less little g gods and more of you, so that your presence and your power is multiplied in our lives. And revival starts with me, and it spreads out. I'm on fire for you, and it's burning, and it's something that draws people to us, so that they too can catch the flame of your Spirit and go out. Be with us now as we leave today. May we pursue you in our mind, in our thoughts, and in our actions, and love you with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Have a great day, great afternoon. If you want to stay and pray, that's fine. The altar's here.